All right, shalom, shalom. I'm going to start off this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, that rule well, that teach well, I learn is truth 100% according to the Bible. Also want to say shalom to the elect, the 144,000 men, the prophets, the servants scattered abroad the four corners of the earth, and shalom to the Akwaf, which are you sisters that are sincere in your children. Shalom. And in today's video is going to be another war news update, as you brothers and sisters can see from the title, Emergency Alert. Houthis hit Israel with missiles, you know, the Amalekites over there, those little hats in the land. Ukraine to attack Moscow during Victory Day, right? You know, so, and I'm going to get a precept for that because, you know, a lot of people like to feel like we're in a peace and safety situation right now because people see that the world is somewhat still afloat in America and things of that nature. These people here in Babylon think that everything is going to be good, but you got hell breaking loose all around the world, man, especially in these other countries soon to come to America. So these people still thinking that we're in a peace phase, man, because they're believing what their president DJT is telling them about, you know, things are going to get better and with the tariffs and things of that nature. But these people don't understand that we're living in a time of war. As it tells you in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, that there's a time for everything, a time to love, a time to war, a time to hate. And we're living in that time of hate and war, man. That's the spirit that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has in the earth right now. So you got wars popping off everywhere in different countries, man. India and Pakistan going at it with one another now. You got a lot of just different wars taking place, you know. And also you have all of these talks of peace happening, you know, with Israel and Iran, and you got Russia and Ukraine talking about peace deals and things of that nature. And we know what the Lord talks about when they talk about peace and all of that stuff, right? So this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3 in the KJV. For when they, right, meaning these heathen nations, man, shall say peace and safety, which is what they're talking about now in the news. You hear a lot of peace talks going on, or talks of, you know, deals and whatnot and stuff of that nature. But the Lord said it won't be no peace, man. That's just what these people are telling us. But we know when they say that there's going to be peace, then, as it said in the scripture, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So that's what we waiting on, this sudden destruction that we know is about to take place, because these people, you know, it's too many things occurring in the earth for it to be peace right now. You know, everywhere you look around the world, there's something taking place that's catastrophic or disastrous, you know. So we know ultimately that there won't be any peace no time soon, man, because that's not the spirit that the Lord is bringing on the earth. And I'm going to go to a precept proving that, Matthew chapter 10, verse 34, right? And Lord Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, he's told the people, his disciples himself, that he's not sending peace on this earth, man, when he comes back. Or before he makes his return, there won't be peace on the earth, man. There's going to be chaos, destruction, calamities, you know, all types of different things, man. Right? This is Matthew 10 and 34 KJV. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. And that's what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is bringing. That's why you're seeing so much destruction happening around the world. That's why you got so many of these countries at odds, going to war with one another, preparing to fight one another. Because ultimately, that's the spirit that the Lord has on the earth right now, right? Because we're ultimately at the end of this man Esau Edom's run, and the Lord is getting ready to bring judgment. That's why all of these nations are preparing to fight one another, man. You know, especially over there in what they call today the so-called Middle East. That place over there is heating up every minute, you know, and it's all biblical prophecy, right? But bear with me. I'm going to get to this video so we can watch it. And before I start this video, I want to say fair use on the 1976 Copyright Act. I'm not getting paid for this video. This is only for educational purposes only. So with that being said, fair use.
Hi guys, it's Greg here, aka NY Prepper. It is Sunday, May 4th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 10 a.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Israel. So just a few hours ago, the Houthis launched a ballistic missile at Israel, and apparently Israel's air defenses failed and they were unable to intercept the Houthi missile, and it landed in the Ben Gurion International Airport, causing several light injuries, and flights had to be suspended. So what you're looking at here is some footage showing the area of the Ben Gurion airport where the missile had landed or impacted. You can see this massive plume of smoke coming up from the horizon. So major emergency breaking news, apocalyptic code black. We have a Houthi missile that penetrated Israel's Iron Dome, their famous Iron Dome air defense system, and impacted the Ben Gurion International Airport. So Israel is obviously not happy about this, and we're hearing reports from Israeli defense sources that a response to this missile attack will be very forceful.
Right? And we just heard what they said. So those Amalekites over there are going to prepare for a strike, and they said it's going to be very forceful upon these Houthis. And we know that Houthis are, they're a militia backed by Iran. So like I said, all of this stuff is doing nothing but fueling the tensions between Israel and Iran, or those Amalekites over there in the land who's calling themselves the people of the Lord when they're not. But we know that ultimately that this is just pushing closer and closer to World War III, because we know Israel and Iran will go head up with one another. And that's going to draw in Russia and America and things of that nature, ultimately leading to this nuclear conflict that's going to occur in the Third World War. So that's what everything is building up to, right? And I'm going to go to that real quick. This is Matthew 24:6 NLT. And it says, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars. That's what you got Israel over there doing now, talking about threatening to destroy the Houthis and attack Iran, nuclear facilities and things of that nature before a certain time. All of these different things that are happening, right? Those are threats, right? And these things are occurring amongst all of these nations. They're making threats against one another. You got an ad I just seen earlier where Vladimir Putin basically warned Ukraine that he hopes to not have to use nuclear weapons. But we know soon to come that nuclear weapons will be used. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Bible, that those weapons will be used in this Third World War that's coming, right? So it says, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. And we ultimately know, like I said before, that, the end won't follow immediately because we still need Jacob's trouble to happen and the implementation of the MOTB. But these things are about to happen soon. So we know that this Third World War is already heated up, man. It's just not going to get nuclear, obviously, to these other prophecies fulfilled, which are going to come soon, right? So I'm going to get that precept real quick. Bear with me. This is Revelations chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse 14. And it says the second woe is past, right? That's talking about the Second World War, which occurred between 1939 to 1945, right? And behold, the third woe coming quickly, and that third woe has already started on a small scale. It started when Russia invaded Ukraine. Like I said, it's just not going to get nuclear to everything else prophecy-wise falls in place. But it will be a nuclear war, man. And this Third World War is already heating up, That's why you're having all of these countries, like I said, ultimately going together. And that Middle East over there is heating up day by day, man. And that's ultimately what the Lord is. That's what his plans is, to have all of these nations, Russia, the Ezekiel 38 prophecy to bring Og, to put a hook in his jaws and bring them down to the Middle East, to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, for all these nations to fight. And that's what everything is building up to. So, I'm going to go to that precept as well. Joel chapter 3, verse 9, because that's what we're seeing happening in the earth, man, the preparation for this Third World War, man. Right. And it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. And that's what they're doing. They're preparing for war. That's why you having all of these different nations, talking about nukes, talking about new aircraft carriers, making new weaponry and things of that nature. They're preparing for war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. And that goes into these nations that at once upon a time were weak. Now they have the backing of Russia to bear, as it tells you in Ezekiel 38, how Russia is going to be a guard to Persia, which is modern day Iran. That's why you got a lot of these countries that were weak at once upon a time. Now they have the strength and the military capabilities to threaten the land of Israel and America, because they have Russia backing them now. So that's why they're strong now, because they have the protection of the bear, right? And this is verse 11. Assemble yourselves. And that's what they're doing. They're assembling themselves. They're getting ready. I just heard that Vladimir Putin said that he's getting a new, he said that he's basically housing up a lot of troops, man. And what you think he getting thousands upon hundreds of thousands of troops ready for? Because just like all the rest of these elite Edomites, they know that this third world war is going to happen, man. And they're already preparing for it, right? But they're trying to keep the rest of you people in the blind, man. That's why the Lord said to watch as well as pray. We got to be watching for these things, because if you're not watching, then these things will come upon you unawares, man. You know, but it said, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Verse 12, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, right? And that's over there what they call the day of the Middle East. That's what the Lord, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, is going to bring all of these heathen nations to fight in this third world war, man, right? And it said, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, right? So that's why everything is happening the way it's happening, man, because everything is building up to ultimately the battle of Armageddon, man. That's what's coming, you know. So, I'm going to get back into this video. We're going to watch just a little bit more of it, just to see what it is he's talking about. Lord's willing, this video be edifying to you brothers and sisters that come across it. But get back into this video real quick. Salakia. Got an ad plan, right? So here we go.
Forces that a response to this missile attack will be very forceful, and that Israel faces no restrictions, and the ex-Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz has called for a strong response against Iran. So this is going to pour even more.
Right, and I just literally said that because we know that the Houthi rebels are an Iran militia group. So we know that this is only going to intensify the tensions that the land of Israel, those small hats, and Iran, Persia, already has for one another. They're just going to continue to keep building up the tensions, ultimately leading up to this, like I said, this third world war, man, that's going to take place, Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Bible, man. All of these things will take place, man, soon. We're living in that time.
Hold water on Trump's efforts to make peace with Iran and to have a nuclear deal with Iran, okay? Israel is going to be very furious about this situation. And we also have some major breaking news coming in from Iran this morning. At least 5 Iranian civilians are wounded as a result of an explosion at a petrochemical plant in the city of Qom. The cause of the blast is unknown at this time. And last night there was...
But yeah, brothers and sisters, we see everything heating up. Things are continuing to grow day by day. The tensions building up, and this is all the Lord's design, because as it tells you in Proverbs 21:1, that the king's heart, meaning his mind, is in the hands of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord is ultimately allowing all of these heathen nations to get, tensions towards one another, man. Because ultimately, like I said, this is all going to lead up to these nations destroying each other and ultimately the Lord destroying them. And this third world war that's coming. So, that's pretty much everything I had to say with today's video. Just a quick little update on things that's taking place. Till the next time, I'm going to say shalom.